Let's speak to Angel Carbonu, who is the president of NAGRAT. There's a feeling that law and order is breaking down in our schools. The Adisadel video has been corroborated by another parent who says that his son informed two complaints of bullying regularly, and that some of them sleep in classrooms because the seniors are just terrible. And the teachers themselves appear terrified of some of the students because they are outnumbered and overwhelmed. And some people are also saying that the system does not allow them to even punish students, and therefore all power has been taken from them. Angel, thanks for joining us. First, have you seen this Adisadel video, and what do you make of it?
Let me start by saying that I am completely shocked at the position that my very good friend and school classmate Salamat is taking. And I don't know, but I am surprised at the position Salamat is taking. His conclusions are very far from the realities that are going on in our senior high schools. And his suggestions are like taking paracetamol to solve malaria problems. My brother, since the Ghana Education Service announced a change in how students are disciplined, for example, the announcement that came that caning is banned in the school and that schools cannot outright withdraw or dismiss students and so on and so forth. From that time to now, discipline in our schools has been on the downslide. And the situation is gotten so complicated to the extent that teachers right now are helpless and do not even know how to handle the situation because a few teachers who have decided to exact punishment on erring students found themselves on the wrong side of the regulations given by the Ghana Education Service. Don't forget, just a year or two ago, after WASE exams, students in a Catholic senior high school in Ashanti bent down the dormitory. And students went to write an exam and they found that the exam was a bit difficult. They came onto social media insulting the president, destroying school property because they have a sense of entitlement. Teachers, the number of teachers who have been beaten, an example is a teacher at Nungwa, a teacher at Freetown Senior High School in Denu. Yeah, I think it's in Denu, where a teacher was beaten and then his hand was almost slashed off, and so on and so forth. These are common practices in the senior high schools. And let me tell you, these days, most teachers have even added metal barricades to their bungalows because of some of these behaviors. Because of the free senior high schools, people with aggregate 45, aggregate 50, people who themselves do not even think that they are senior high school materials, have all found themselves in the schools. Some of them, for the past 3 years, they have not written a single exam. And yet, you cannot repeat a student under free senior high school. You can't repeat a student under free senior high school. So the student comes to Form 1, to Form 3, he hardly attends school, he's not written any exam, but as a headmaster, you need to write back to the regional office. I know a headmistress who requested from the regional director that a student is absented herself from school almost throughout the semester. As a result of that, they wanted the student to repeat. The regional director advised the headmistress that please, under free senior high school, you cannot do that. So it's a free-for-all situation in our senior high schools as we speak.
How bad is the outnumbering? The one angle of this is the fact that because the students are many, there aren't enough bungalows to have teachers to even supervise the boarders. And therefore, you have a situation where there's so many students and so few teachers. Can you give us an example of that? And is that one way of resolving this? Because at the time I was in Presec, we're only 400 in my form when we were in Form 3, right? When I was in Form 2, the Form 3s were 300. So the whole school was less than 1,000. And almost every house, the house masters were not that far off. Indeed, in house 7 and house 8, the teachers slept at the top floor of those houses. So there was always teachers around. Now, I don't know what ratios we are dealing with now and whether the issue of teachers on campus should be where we start the solutions from.
In fact, the population is ballooned out of control. In most, especially the top 65 to 70 senior high schools in this country, where everybody wanted son and daughter to attend, the populations have ballooned out of proportion. As we talk about Protect, your total population is hovering around 4,000.
It's actually 5,000. It's actually 5,300 when all three streams are in school.
That's right, within the same geographical space. And we have not had significant infrastructural development in the school. So definitely these high numbers are going to create serious problems for discipline in the school. And it's the same story in most of the top senior high schools in this country. Secondly, the in thing, which is called the transition thing or the double track thing, is not helped us in terms of ensuring discipline. Because you don't have a stable composition of your students in school for control purposes. As we speak, some students are at home, others are in school. By the time they go home, others are coming to school. So even the students themselves do not even know who my colleagues are. And then again, if we have one set of prefects, the control that even the prefects should have, because we don't have a homogeneous set of students going to school at the same time, all creates serious problems. Look, the situation is such that we need to take bold decisions. Teachers have to be empowered to be able to exact disciplinary measures in school and ensure that we bring the situation under control. What we are doing, we are creating mayhem in our schools.
A PTA member sent me a message and says that if I want to go into our SHS system, I will need a whole day's program because everything has collapsed. According to this person, curriculum, meals, discipline, teaching, learning, school management, supervision, and everything has collapsed. Is this person exaggerating?
No. Look, when I was in Pope John's, of course, Pope John is a step higher than Presec. You know that one. That one you will not argue.
Oh.
When I was in Pope John,
this man.
Catholic schools usually do not like large population. When it is time for dining, whether you will eat or you will not eat, once you are in a boarding house, you will have to come to the boarding and be accounted for.
Even with Presec, it's the same.
Oh, you okay.
Whether you are eating or not, you have to be in the dining hall.
You have to be in the dining hall. All school gatherings are compulsory.
Yes.
So this helps in conformity, control, and discipline in the schools. Look, I recall sometimes at night, you don't even know when housemasters come and they conduct roll call. And those days, my time, there were no mobile phones, so you cannot even call friends from town to rush back to school. Roll calls, and when you are found not to be in the dormitory at the time you are supposed to be in the dormitory, next day, suspension. So there was control and discipline. And those who wanted to come to school to study were able to study and get what they want. Because, you see, we have what we call the mirror effect. If you do not create that disciplinary environment, very serious school students can be adversely affected. And there was a telling on the type of results that were coming out from the school. This is what a school environment is supposed to be, an environment that will endure teaching and learning, an environment of harmony where people can stay and learn, not only an environment to be certificated. You see, but today we are getting the reverse of what we are supposed to, and it is affecting very serious students, because that environment can negatively affect very serious students. We need to revisit our senior high. Look, Bernard, let me tell you, there is a private school now in Kaswa. The total amount of money you pay is 6,000 Ghana cedis. I spoke to a parent yesterday. The parent does have one child in a public school and the other child in the private school. And the parent told me that the child in the private school is even doing better because that one, the school term is fixed. There's nothing like going home and coming back. But the amount of money she is spending on the girl in the public school by sending her food, by paying this, by paying that, is almost equal to what the child in the private school is paying. Why are we burying our heads in the sun and acting as ostrich?
All right. The Adisco case, what I am told is that the housemaster was relieved of his duty as housemaster.
Yeah, but Bernard.
Now, I was going to ask if, in terms of the arrangement we have, that's enough, because in the video we saw, we are told that all three were punished. Apparently, the victim was also punished for not reporting. So we are told.
Bernard,
yeah.
What did the housemaster do?
Well, it happened in his house and he wasn't there.
Oh, but the students are in their dormitory. The housemaster is in his bungalow. And two students decided to misbehave. If it were a case where the report came to the housemaster and the housemaster did nothing about it, then there is a case. But the housemaster who is gone to his house, to his home, and the students in their dormitory misbehaving, what has the housemaster done in this case?
Well, maybe he didn't put a system in place to ensure that they could report. It's a question of ultimate responsibility. Because, look, if something happens within your jurisdiction, you are the housemaster for a reason. So if there's no system for this to be reported to you from June 30, and he had to take a viral video for the headmaster to hear about it, if I were the headmaster, I would suspend the housemaster.
Then the headmaster should equally be suspended.
Well, he can't suspend himself. So whoever is suspended, they can continue the chain of suspensions.
Let me say that housemasters and housemistresses do not generate or implement rules by themselves. The housemasters and housemistresses work under the assistant headmistress or headmaster domestic, who also work under the headmaster. So general boarding house rules are developed within the confines of the Ghana Education Service rules and regulations. Within the dormitory, there is a dormitory prefect who reports to the house prefect. So if an incident occurs in the dormitory prefect is supposed to report that incident either to the house prefect or the housemaster or housemistress, as the case may be. If the housemaster or housemistress gets the report and fails to take action, then he or she is culpable. But you see, there is something among boys schools. Boys do not report cases because it will be a sign of weakness. So when you bully a boy, the reaction of the boys is totally different because the boys have this cult behavior where any boy who reports is a weakling. And he's also waiting to get to Form 2 or Form 3 to repeat what the seniors did to him. So boys usually do not report beating or bullying to school authorities. And this video apparently might have been taken by a student. And the objective of the student who took the video may not be to report. It might have gotten to social media by mistake. So today, if you go to that boy who was being bullied, I can assure you, he will defend the senior and tell you that they were playing.
So the thing is a much deeper problem.
Oh, yes. Look, the situation, I teach in a girls' school, and I tell them that, look, you people, you are totally different from the school that I attended. I attended boys' school from Form 1 to Upper 6. The issue of the matter is that in boys' school, any boy who reports being beaten or being bullied is seen as a dadaba, and you don't want to be described as dadaba because it's a sign of weakness.
Toxic masculinity. That's what they call it.
I mean, that is where it develops from. Later on, you will be given tutorials on how to chase girls. You'll be given tutorials on how to be tough. You'll be schooled as to how to behave when you go to intercom and all that. Look, you will even be surprised that the senior who bullies you most becomes your mentor.
God forbid. Not in my life. By the way, the thing you said about Pope John's is generated a lot of storm. So
but it's true.
I think you should just withdraw it quietly so we can make progress because it's led to.
I mean, a school with a seminary where we have a lot of disciplined boys. I mean, of course, you can't compare. I mean, Bernard, this one, let us not argue about this because I can give you numerous examples.
Okay, no problem. So yours is a minor seminary. So
yes, there is a minor seminary attached to the schools, and the boys are very disciplined, at least compared to Bernard. This one, you know.
Right. But my final question is that there are so many issues with education, secondary and basic. We have a year and a half to elections. I mean, can't NAGRAT do a bit more advocacy to because like every parent you call will say that we are not happy with what's happening in the schools. The food is not good enough. The teachers are not many. The students are too many. There's so many problems, but we don't seem to be able to unravel the matters. What's the problem?
Yeah, Bernard, this October, the 25th anniversary of NAGRAT is going to be launched. And the focus is going to be the review of Free Senior High School. We have decided to mobilize parents, to mobilize NGOs, to mobilize the media. We have to take the discussion and the argument from the hands of the politicians. In fact, there was a prophecy made at Citi FM, which is very true, that if the new patriotic party does not touch the senior high school, politically, no other political party can touch the Free Senior High School. And it is absolutely right. That is why NAGRAT is this 25th anniversary that we are preparing to launch. We are launching it with the decision that we will put pressure on government to start reviewing the Free Senior High School. And all stakeholders will have to come to the table.
That is wonderful. Thank you, Angel, for talking to us as ever. Angel Carbonu is the president of NAGRAT.